Hello and welcome to A Draw My Life. Only 2 years after everyone else on YouTube has done one, I am finally getting around to doing one. My name's Poet, and I was born in Winnipeg, Central Canada, for those who don't really know the Canadian cities. At the age of 3 years old, we moved from the city to the country. Now, this was a pretty big change. We went from living literally feet away from our next door neighbor to living sometimes miles away from the closest neighbor. We lived the farming life, which means hard work, long hours, no computers, and a television that only had 3 channels. And don't even get me started, the internet wasn't invented yet. I was extremely shy at the time, which was the result of not really growing up with other kids. When I went to school, I didn't talk to anyone or get along with anyone. While at home, my parents always fought. My brother and I, we learned their bad habits, and we fought as well. I know that a lot of people out there have these wonderful stories of siblings who grow up together and love each other, but that's not how it was. We were always at each other's throats. Eventually, as a gift on Christmas, we got a Nintendo Entertainment System. And with this Nintendo, my brother and I actually got along. Well, sometimes. Due to money problems that my parents were having at the time, we had to move again. We moved closer to the city to a house that wasn't as good. Suddenly the flood hit. The flood they call the flood of the century. It destroyed our home and everything in it. As a result, we actually had to live in a hotel for months, and I missed a lot of school. When the flood finally ended, we got a few benefits, and we were able to build a new house. With those benefits, we bought our first computer. I got to play awesome games like Zork and Wolfenstein 3D. And the internet. We finally got internet. It was very, very slow though. Since the internet was basically useless at the time, I started hacking into the games, taking them apart, started teaching myself coding. At school, despite me hanging out with fellow geeks, I was bullied almost every single day. I became even more shy and independent, and even my friends at school couldn't really connect with me. I wouldn't go anywhere or hang out with anyone. I would just be at home playing video games in all of my free time. Spent many summer holidays that way. Skip ahead a few years and I went to a different high school in an attempt to stop the bullying. I thought that maybe now, in a different high school, I would make new friends and be myself and finally have that self-confidence. And for a while, I did. I was funny. It worked. But ultimately, my self-confidence, or the lack thereof, kicked in. And all of those friends decided that, you know what? He's not that great. I stayed in touch with an old friend of mine from my first school, and we did a lot together. He had suffered like I did, and was bullied a lot. But together, we were able to play video games, watch movies, and as we got older, we worked on cars together. He helped fuel my love for cars that I have today. Skipping ahead a little bit more, I started university. I went into computer science because computers. I didn't really know what I wanted to do at the time. But that's where I really gained my confidence finally. I started my computer-related job. I was building my resume, and my confidence was growing with that. Life was looking up. One day, while I was working outside on one of my cars, I couldn't help thinking to myself how much my best friend would love the work that I had put into it. And just as suddenly as I had had that thought, my mom walked outside. She walked up to me and in a very quiet voice she said that my best friend had taken his own life. I didn't know how to react to it, and I walked around in a trance for weeks. Ultimately, I decided that it couldn't let me down. It could only make me stronger. And I learned how fragile life can be. On the lighter side of things, around this time I was pretty serious about this girl that I was dating, who unfortunately, though I was happy, she suffered from depression. We had worked on game development together, and she was the design, I was the programmer. We played games together, and I always found it hilarious. I had a great time, so did she. We decided that for something to do together to try to break out of her depression, we would put it on YouTube to make her feel better and make other people feel better. Eventually, we did break up and went our separate ways, but I developed a strong passion for YouTube, for making videos. I was addicted to making videos, and unfortunately, that did start affecting my job. I got no sleep. It was stressful. I knew that eventually I'd have to stop working or stop YouTube. I decided to give YouTube a shot. The first year was very tough. I had just bought a new house, which needed huge renovations that I didn't expect, and as a result, I went into a pretty big amount of debt. I had bill collectors on me. I had people threatening to turn off my power. I had my cell phone turned off. It wasn't looking very good, and I was actually pretty much in a panic. I didn't really admit it to people too much, but it was pretty dire. I decided that, you know what, I can't just sit here and do nothing. I've got this small following on YouTube. Why not host a live stream? And that live stream saved my life. As my subs increased, my views increased. And as my views increased, my income increased. Everything I have right now, I owe to the fans. I owe my life to the people who support me on YouTube. It's funny how just you watching can have such a profound effect on my life. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. This is Poet. Thanks for watching.